Have you ever noticed how some parts of your love life don't make sense when you look at your main signs? Your story doesn't quite fit into those neat astrological categories, but you don't know where else to look. That's where the love asteroids come in. The hidden pieces of your chart that reveal your desire, your devotion, your passion, and even your soulmate chemistry. I absolutely love asteroids because they can give you uber specific information on a variety of topics. There's like a million and one asteroids that you can place or that you can see in your natal chart that can tell you a whole lot about a whole lot. And in this video, we're going to be talking about four of the asteroids that directly correlate to your love life. All right. So if you want to know more, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. If you're new around here, hi, hello, and welcome. My name is Mel. I'm a professional astrologer and sound therapist, and I'm the founder of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if you're new, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So like I said before, this video is all about the love asteroids. Now, asteroids are like an extra when it comes to examining your natal chart. So let's say that you're pulling up your natal chart on a site like astro.com, Cafe Astrology, or astro-seek.com. You'll get like Venus, Mars, ascendant, midheaven, all of those things. But there is a plethora. And when I say plethora, I'm not kidding. It's probably 100 or maybe even more asteroids that you can add to your natal chart to give you more information. Think of the planets and sort of the default things that come in your natal chart as the default. They're sort of the broader topics, right? Asteroids are very specific little things that can tell you a lot about a little topic. Okay. So you've got asteroids for money, asteroids for fame, asteroids for family. And in accordance with this series, we're going to be talking about four asteroids that deal with love. And keep in mind that love has different facets. And these asteroids, these four asteroids, speak to those facets. So, by way of logistics, if you're interested in exploring any of these asteroids in your natal chart, you're going to have to elect to add them into your natal chart calculation when you pull up your natal chart on a site like astro.com, right? And there would be a special section where you could add different asteroids. So it definitely takes some more steps. But if this video kind of piques your interest and you want to know more about asteroids, I'll put some resources in the description box for you below to help you get started with all of this. All right. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So to begin, I'd like you to think about and meditate on this core idea. The love asteroids add nuance, depth, and specificity to your relationship story. The details Venus alone can't answer. So these four asteroids, called Juno, Eros, Psyche, and Amor, fitting name, right? Each reveal a different dimension of love and connection. So it's important to understand that it's not that these replace Venus by any means necessary. It takes it a little more specific. Where Venus is love, you'll see that these asteroids each delineate a certain aspect of love. Okay, so let's begin with the asteroid Juno. And Juno represents commitment and long term partnership. Okay, by way of mythology, Juno is connected or is related to, not even related to, Juno represents Hera in Greek mythology, and Hera was the wife of Zeus. Now, if you know anything about Greek mythology, specifically Zeus, you know that Zeus was a hoe, okay? Zeus would sleep with everybody. Zeus would be involved in so many entanglements. Zeus was kind of the non committal energy. Whereas his wife, Hera, was all about commitment and partnership. I mean, despite everything that he did, she still stayed with him for better or for worse. So she represents commitment. And thereby, the asteroid Juno represents commitment and long term partnership in your natal chart. Now, what I love about Juno is that it can literally tell you who your partner is going to be by characteristic or even by sign. I've examined some natal chart where the person had like Juno in Scorpio and their partner was a Scorpio sun. Like astrology can be literally that literal. Or it could represent the characteristics of your marriage partner, your spouse, right? Whether you are booed up yet or not. So Juno is that juicy bit of information that clues you in into who your long-term partner likely can be or what kind of characteristics they embody. So Juno shows what you need in a marriage or committed partnership. It asks, what do you consider a real partnership? When you're thinking about marriage, what do you consider a real partnership? Juno in your natal chart can help you answer that. What makes you say, this is my person? Okay. Juno essentially represents your expectations in long term love. So while it can be literal and it can delineate the actual sign of your person, it more likely talks about the characteristics of that person and the characteristics of your long term relationship. So, when you examine Juno by sign, and I'm not going to delineate each sign in this video, if you're interested in Juno by sign, I may be persuaded perhaps to do a dedicated video on that. So, if you're interested, let me know in the comments below. But it's pretty self-explanatory. You would look at Juno in your natal chart, and let's say again, you've got Juno in Scorpio. The characteristics of Scorpio are not only what you need in a committed partnership, but perhaps what you need in a committed partner. But in any event, Juno by sign tells you what kind of partner energy feels stable and lasting. Remember, this isn't more so about like when you think about Juno, I want you to think about commitment, what you need in commitment, and thereby what you need stability wise, what needs to stand the test of time, right? What needs to last. It may not necessarily be what sets you on fire or what you're passionate about. This shows what you need in commitment. Okay. So now Juno by synastry. So when someone activates your Juno via synastry, you feel long term potential instantly. Okay. It's like you feel like, okay, I could see myself with this person long term. I could grow with this person. Okay. Now, again, that could feel very different than synastry you have with someone where you feel chemistry, where you feel fire. There's staying power in Juno synastry. So I want you to remember that. Now, speaking of fire and desire, let's move on to the second asteroid, which is Eros. And Eros represents sexual desire, magnetism, and passion. So whereas Juno is like, okay, this is my person, I can see myself growing with this person. Eros is erotic, right? It's passion, it's sex, it's magnetism. Eros is eroticism, attraction, and sexual awakening. What turns you on? What ignites your desire? And how do you express passion? So, that passionate and even sexual side of relationships can be delineated by Eros, the asteroid Eros in your natal chart. And again, you would elect to add Eros into your natal chart calculation, but wherever it is, it's going to show you magnetism, passion, desire, and sex. So, Eros by sign reveals your erotic language, the flavor of your chemistry. So, it tells you perhaps what you need in a sexual relationship, what you need to turn you on. Okay. Those are very important facets of a relationship. It's to definitely not be ignored, right? And then Eros and synastry. It sparks that I can't stop thinking about you chemistry. If someone's Eros pings a point in your natal chart or vice versa, there's going to be chemistry between you. There's going to be sexual energy between you two. And how you value that chemistry, how you value that magnetism, and how you use it is ultimately up to you. But it does denote chemistry between you and someone else. Okay. Next, let's talk about the asteroid Psyche. And Psyche represents a soul connection and emotional vulnerability. Now, this is a very important facet of relationships that also shouldn't be ignored. Yes, we can think about commitment. Yes, we can think about passion and magnetism. But what about emotions and emotional vulnerability? It can be great to have the most passionate relationship, but maybe they're not fulfilling your emotional needs, or you've got someone who's got staying power, but they speak nothing to your emotions, right? You kind of need a balance of all of them. And when it comes to emotional vulnerability, Psyche is definitely the asteroid for that. So, Psyche is your heart's intelligence. It's the part of you that seeks soul level understanding, emotional intimacy, sensitivity, and soul recognition. So, the softer, tender, more affectionate side of love and relationships is evidenced by Psyche. So, by sign, Psyche shows what makes you feel deeply seen. It sort of takes the energy of the moon and makes it a little more specific. Okay. It makes you really hone in on emotional needs within relationships. Okay. And again, it shows you what makes you feel deeply seen. Now, Psyche in synastry, it creates profound emotional resonance and sometimes even past life vibes I've seen, right? This person, if you have synastry with them via Psyche, it's their psyche pinging a part of your natal chart or vice versa. There is an emotional connection between the two of you. And it can even evoke past life vibes. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. All right. And then finally, we get to the last asteroid that I'm going to discuss, which is Amor, right? The name is so fitting, like you can't even make this up. And the asteroid Amor represents pure, unconditional love. Amor is affection, tenderness, and unconditional love energy. Represents how you give love freely, how you express warmth, and how you love without conditions. Now, this is a topic that's a little, I'm not going to say sensitive, but when we're talking about romantic relationships, unconditional love is either a non motherfucking factor because everyone comes into relationship with conditions, or it's something that people strive for, but as I was once told in a relationship, I was talking to someone about unconditional love, or I was talking to the person I was dating at the time about unconditional love. And they said, unconditional love is great and it's something to strive for, but it's almost impossible in relationships. And I completely disagree because, yes, it is something to strive for. And yes, it requires work. And not even just work to unconditionally love someone, the work is inner work to remove the conditions that you place on love. It's not about forcing yourself to love someone unconditionally because then that can make you like a doormat or that can get you to sidestep important things, right? But why do I have these conditions in love? And how can I work on myself to remove them? I think that's the work that needs to be focused on when we talk about unconditional love, particularly in the realm of romantic relationships. But either way, the asteroid Amor can show you unconditional love and the characteristics of unconditional love in your life when you examine it in your natal chart. So, Amor by sign, it reveals your natural love language. Remember, Venus can show you your love style and can also show you your love language, but Amor takes it a step further and gets it to be ultra specific. Okay. Now, Amor in synastry. When someone's Amor is pinging a point in your natal chart or vice versa, it brings safety, sweetness, and emotional ease. Okay, so that can show you the overall unconditional love factor of not only you yourself, but also your relationships. So you can see how all of these asteroids can show what you need in relationships and how these specific topics play out in relationships. That's why I love asteroids because they get super specific. Now, by way of like a general sort of caveat, you'll have some astrologers who say they never look at asteroids. And you'll have some astrologers who will look at the most obscure ones. If you're ever to go on a site like astro.com and add asteroids to your natal chart, you will see there's like 100 of them. You could really get super specific. And it's really a matter of taste, right? But if you find that Venus, especially when we're talking about the realm of relationships, Venus doesn't necessarily speak to how you show up in relationships or how you receive love or how you attract people, then looking at these asteroids may help clear the fog and make things much clearer to you in terms of your Venus. Okay. And it's important to remember that these asteroids don't replace Venus. They refine and deepen your relationship blueprint. So it's not about, I'm not even going to look at Venus. Let's just look at this asteroid Amor or look at Juno, for instance. It's like, okay, this is my Venus. If I want to get even more specific, let me look at these asteroids. Either way, they're super specific, but can really tell you a whole lot about your love life and your relationship story. So now let's pause for a moment of reflection and for self inquiry. So here's your reflection for today. Which part of love are you craving more clarity on? Commitment, passion, soul connection, or tenderness? The love asteroids show you what your heart has been whispering all along. And again, if you really want to examine these asteroids, let me know and I'll do a dedicated video on how to find them in your natal chart, like how to add them in your natal chart and do some case studies so you can see exactly how they play out. But either way, think about where you want to know more about your love story, where you want to know about commitment, where you want to know about passion and unconditional love. Think about it, reflect on it, and meditate on those topics today. Now, of course, before we get into specifics, you'll want to get the basics down pat. And if you want to understand how you show up in relationships and your relationship blueprint, then you will want to take the free seduction style quiz. It's a cute, fun little quiz that'll tell you your seduction style and archetype so that you can understand how you show up in relationships before you start delineating all of those amazing asteroids. So if you're interested in the quiz, the link is in the description box below. And if you're ready to understand these deeper layers in your own chart, right? Especially if your Venus in your chart leaves a little more to be desired, then that's exactly what we explore in my signature natal chart experience, the blueprint. It's my private one on one reading where I map out your patterns, your love themes, and your partnership energy. Okay. In this reading, you get a 60-minute live reading, a free private client portal with a bunch of resources. Plus, you get a 30-day alignment map so that post reading, you know what energies to expect and how to work with them. So, if you're interested in signing up for the blueprint, the first step is to book a 15-minute free clarity call. That way, we can decide whether the blueprint is right for you and, if so, how to get started. So, if you're interested in booking that call, the link is in the description box below. And if you want to know more about this, let's say you're an astrology enthusiast, right? And you want to learn more about how to read natal charts, you want to learn more about astrology, period, then you will want to join the wait list for my signature self paced course, Charted. I haven't launched it yet. I'm about to launch it in the very near future, but this is the quintessential natal chart course. So if you're looking for something self paced and super comprehensive, Charted is definitely for you. All right. So the link to the wait list is in the description box below. Get on it so you'll know exactly when it drops. And as always, come and join me inside Cosmic Collective, which is my online private community where we unpack love astrology every week during Cosmic Chemistry Fridays. So, apart from going live on my YouTube channel on Monday night for the weekly astro forecast, which you should tap into, just saying, I also go live within I also go live within Cosmic Collective every Friday. So we go deeper into the week's topics. I do a case study with celebrity charts, and it's your opportunity to ask as many questions as you like. So in this online private community, you also get access to exclusive content. Like that's where all of my sign specific videos live. Plus, you get a community of like minded individuals who want to learn astrology as well. So if you're interested in that, you can either scan the QR code that's on the screen right now or tap the link in the description box below. Either way, I look very forward to seeing you on that side of things. All right, my loves. So that's pretty much all I've got for you for this video on the love asteroids and what they say about your relationship story. So hopefully this piqued your interest and you can fall down the rabbit hole of asteroids in astrology. All right. And again, I'll leave some free resources in the description box below if you want to explore this topic more. All right. But in any event, join me tomorrow where we'll discuss composite charts, what they are and what they tell you about the soul of your relationship. This is a great topic that you're definitely not going to want to miss. So set notifications, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use to understand your relationship life much better. All right, my loves, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.